Hey everyone, and Zhao here. We are back after the holiday and going to be doing a little art, getting going on Empire of the Undying Sun. Going to be doing a little heraldry marks tonight. So if you want, stop by, ask a question. If not, enjoy this video later. And I guess we will see how it goes. It has been a little while since I've really done anything, so actually I might. There we go. Might be a little better. If you can make sure I'm actually on YouTube. Okay, I am. I will make this a little easier to see in just a couple of minutes. Hello there, whoever is currently watching. If you have any questions, feel free. So tonight, I am working on a bunch of stuff, including these symbols for various factions. So right now, I am working on the Brethren of the Fox. Who are the Brethren of the Fox, you might ask? Well, the Brethren are a group of elves, and they are none too pleased with the humans in the area. So the starting area that's much better. The starting area of South Bay, about 80 years before the start of this campaign, the elves were there, and they were really the only ones there. The area where they lived was not at all interesting to anyone outside of the elves themselves, but they were invaded basically by the human forces of the Western League, and they got taken over. And basically, they got taken over, and they've been an occupied space ever since. So there have been a few uprisings against the humans, as one might expect. And so what exactly does that mean? Well, those uprisings were defeated, and the elves basically got their butts kicked. But just because they are down a little bit doesn't mean that they're out. So there are certain spirits, as the elves would call them, spirits of the forest. And they have intermittently sort of helped or promoted with these uprisings in the past, but in the last 20 years, there really haven't been any willing to help the elves out. Now, one of those spirits, the fox, who is now calling herself the Fox God. There are a group of cultists who worship her, and they are back, and they are doing some very questionable things in the area around South Bay. And South Bay is, of course, the starting area. So that's what we're doing here. Hey, Geeky Catholic. Yeah, I gotta redo that hand. That didn't come out well. Unfortunately. So that is the sigil, I guess you could say, for the Five Fingers, which is a criminal organization. And each finger controls a different aspect of crime. So it would be like if you had the Yakuza, the Costa Nostra and the Triads, if they were all like ostensibly part of one big criminal organization, and they each had their specialties. So like one specialized in murder, another in smuggling, another in frauds. There is one that does sin, basically gambling, prostitution, illicit drugs, those sort of things. So right now, I am working on the icon for the Black Ram. So the Black Ram is actually a god that is generally not worshipped around the starting area of South Bay, but they have recently built a black pyramid devoted to the ram in South Bay. And no one quite knows why, except for the Priory of the Ram, of course. Oh, thanks, Marcin. I don't know that I'd say it's nice work. I don't know. The problem is when I do things for myself, I get to the point where I say, I don't like this. And I have to redo it like 8 times. Also, isn't it very late over there in the UK? What are you doing up? Oh yeah, Marcin. I'm sorry. I need to send you. Some more info. If you still have time, I've got a few more things I'd like you to do for Empire.
Well, Michael Dale, someone keeps pushing my button. That's why I'm drawn in this elevator. You know, the weird thing is, I've had this music in here for a while, and I'm listening to it now, and it's like, is this what I was listening to before? Somehow this doesn't quite seem right. Gotta download some new music. They've got this AI music now on the software I use to stream this. And I listen to it and it's like, God, this is terrible. Like, at least this stuff is kind of tolerable. Yes, I am. This is, oh, how did I forget that? This is the Black Ram. The Priory of the Ram plays a large part in the story, and when you start off, there is a temple dedicated to the Black Ram in the shape of a pyramid right in South Bay. No one quite knows why. So yeah, doing symbols for different factions. We got the Brethren of the Fox, Terrible Five Fingers, the Black Ram, and the Union of the Wheel, which I will get to in a couple minutes once I finish this guy here. Handouts? I don't know. Should I include them as handouts? So they are going to appear in the book. So there's a chapter. There's 3 sort of info chapters. So there's one about South Bay and the area around it. That's the starting area. You have in chapter 6, there's a lot about the ocean and like different pirates and islands and factions and that kind of stuff. Then there's another one about the Empire, which is about the Empire of the Undying Sun. So in the book itself, these will all appear. And like, so you have the Black Ram. You got a little symbol in the text right there. Give it a little gravitas, as I believe the French call it. But that's not a bad idea because I'm also prepping downloads that, you as the DM can
you can just whip some of these out. Oh, well, they're big because it's better to make them big and then you shrink them down like in Photoshop. If I were drawing them like, that big, it would be really hard to draw. They would just be too small. Yeah, so actually you can imagine the size. Hey there. I leave Mo. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so I've got sketched them out pencil on just regular like printer paper. Tried doing the ink, seeing how well they'd work, and they look awful. So I went back to the tried and true Bristol paper, which gives it. It's better at absorbing the ink, is the thing. So Bristol paper is traditionally what people would have used for like comic books and things like that because it's, well, like I said, it holds ink. So even this, I think a lot of people would say is kind of like a small illustration. No. So this is Strathmore Bristol paper, 100 pound. It's very thick. I don't know how to. So here's regular printer paper, and you can see it's much thicker and textured. Of course, you probably can't see that on on this stream, but this is Strathmore, which is kind of like the king of Bristol. However, I'm using Canson. For some reason, they call this XL, which is recycled Bristol, so it's a little bit cheaper, but it holds its shape well. And I got this super cheap. There was Joann's Fabric just went out of business a few months ago. So parchment is, for sure, the process of making it is different. I would say parchment is definitely thinner. Bristol is much thicker. So it holds up to abuse well, but as you can see here, I've got the old light box, and I can still see through it. So it's not super thick. It's just better. This one? The one that lights up, Command Post Gaming. This is a light box. So basically I sketch things out just on cheap printer paper, just all in pencil. And then you can see there's some like paper clips, sort of industrial strength paper clips. I put those on and hold this guy in place. And I get going like that. Yeah, basically. So back in the day, before we had Photoshop with like 10 bajillion layers, you know, some people would ink right over a sketch. And the problem is if you screw up the inks, now you got to resketch everything. So this way I can keep the original pencil sketch. And if I screw up, I just throw out the inks and I start over, which is a heck of a lot more convenient. So this is how actually pretty much everything was done, except comics. For some reason, comic books, a lot of times, so back in the day, if you worked at Marvel or DC, you had the artist and he would sketch whatever on the paper, and then they would mail it to whoever the inker was, who for whatever reason would ink right on top of it, and then probably to save money on paper. So you're only paying for one sheet instead of two. And then they would, and that was kind of it. They would just erase it after. But most respectable industries, like the animation industry, if you had like two different cells, which would be like, you know, Donald Duck, his fist is here, and then the next frame it was like this. That way, you know, when you're drawing, you could see sort of see the difference in the different images, and then so you could kind of keep track of what's going on. So how much do you have to do after scanning? Yeah. Well, actually, getting rid of the paper color isn't that bad. So I actually used to ink right on top of pencils. And, you know, number one is I would screw up and then I would have to redo stuff a lot. But also getting rid of the pencil marks is bad. Like a lot of people would use Dun Repo Blue, which is, you know, like the, let's see it better, like the blue lines on a graph paper, right? Because supposedly back in the day, you couldn't, they wouldn't reproduce, right? That's why TSR, all their old maps were blue, so you couldn't just copy the maps infinitum, right? If you had black paper, people could just keep recopying and reusing the maps. No, they want you to buy the original book because you couldn't just go down to the library and print off some stuff. But with scanners, like I have never had luck getting that stuff to drop out well. I use, I mean, these are just sketches for a dungeon, but I've never had good luck getting them to drop out. So I have, like this is a map I'm working on for level 7, or the 7th chapter, I should say. And like it's great, except I made these faint blue things, and those take for friggin' ever to get rid of. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. So how long would it take? I don't know. For something like this, I really don't think it would be that long. One of the good things about this is, like I said, if you think of like a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and then divide that in half because there's 2 columns, and then you shrink this down to be able to fit into that size, it ends up being pretty small. So I don't have to worry too much about things. Like if there's little imperfections at that scale, it's not bad. The problem comes when things are much larger. I am not doing many of the larger pieces in this book. Partially due to time, partially due to skill. I don't know if you saw Marcin's popped in earlier. Which you probably didn't, because I haven't been showing the... Is there a way to do that? I don't know. I don't know how to get the... I don't know how to get that right. There we go. So yeah, Marcin's, he is one of the guys who's doing work. So I am trying to work on this stuff here. It's funny. I was thinking recently about just some economics. Right now, the economy of Japan is so bad that, like, I could go over there and give someone a half. Like, if I were working at a larger scale, I could easily go over there and afford like some top-notch artists, like right out of school, and pay them like $1,700 a month, and like, here, do art for me all day, every day, and that would be awesome. But sadly, my sales aren't there yet. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years. Of course, in 10 years, the Japanese economy will probably be good again. So speaking of fixing things up, like, you can't really see it on the screen, but there are like I don't think I can zoom in and still have it clear, but there are a ton of like white dots where I didn't do a very good job with the ink. So like, trying to go back and fill them in now if I can see them. Because if I don't, I gotta go in Photoshop and redo them, and that is terrible. So the Kickstarter for the one you backed in 24, that one is closed, but the one I did this past summer, which was the second chance and then the 1E version, that is still in demand. No, not in demand. That's the Indiegogo term. Late backer. That's what it is. It's still available for late backers. So if anybody wanted the 5e version, they could still grab that. There will be some more that I need to do on in Photoshop, though. Like I got to do a little bit with the backgrounds. Like they'll probably have more, I don't know, like a dark gray or a black that I'll just put behind them. I don't really want to use markers on these because they get muddy, or I'm worried that they're going to get muddy. This one sucks. Got to redo that hand, but so that is my concern. That to me is just easier to do on the computer. So now, that's number 5. Here we go. Nope. This is what I need. So now I got to go through and I will do this, which this is the symbol for the Union of the Wheel. So the Union of the Wheel is it's an organization that is kind of like a tinkerer's guild. Technically in Empire, there are 4 kinds of magic. You have the dreaded arcane magic, which is what wizards would use. You have divine magic, which you would have clerics and paladins and possibly warlocks. Then you have nature magic, druids and I guess rangers. And then the last kind of magic is science. So you could technically be you can be a character class that doesn't use magic. Instead, you would make the stuff science. Like, instead of a fireball, you could effectively make a grenade or, Molotov cocktails that have the effect of a fireball, should you choose. But these, I think it was this one. So these guys, they, the game is not made to be steampunk, but if you wanted it to be, these are the guys that would do it. Yeah, exactly. Tinkerer's Union. So how far am I with the book? Well, I have so there's 10 play chapters. 1 through 7 are done and back from the from my editor. 8 is I need to do one more rough draft before I send it to my editor, because we decided to move a lot of things that were in chapter 8 to some other chapters. So like if you like a sandbox type game, there's sort of 3 chapters that have most of the info on the world areas. So there's one chapter called about South Bay, and South Bay is the area that you start in. And then there's another chapter later about the Empire. So when you would move on to the Empire of the Undying Sun, there's like a map. The 8th chapter is kind of a lot of it's set up to more or less be a hex crawl. So it's, all the different areas, all the different monsters. So originally I had most of the monsters in chapter 8. So we're moving those all back to about the Empire, and that chapter is close to done. I got to move the monsters over, and I'm doing a little bit of retinkering with them. So 9 is that's a mega dungeon inside a pyramid that transforms. So that one is more technical. And I don't know, there might be like 300 rooms or something by the time we're done. So that is probably the first draft is probably around 75% done. But I've got a test group going through there right now. So as things are as things develop, I edit that. I've got a good first draft of chapter 10, but that's not quite done. Yeah. So there are different. If you play with the talent tree, there are certain ones that will enable you to make your own potions with herbs that you identify along the way. So that is definitely possible if you have a brewer or a brewer's kit. You could certainly do that. So other than that, so there's one chapter about the game that's written, the one about astronomy and prophecy is written, chapter about blood and souls that's written and back for the editor. The talent trees are done, just some minor tinkering with those, but that's done and back from the editor. What else is there? Chapter religion I need to finish up. That's probably about half written. So percentage of the book wise, we're probably looking at about like 50% that's already in a layout that just needs images. Another 25% which is done with the writing and just needs to be put into a layout. And then probably the last 25%, I'd say like of that, half of that 25% is written but needs to be re-edited by me before I send it to a final edit. So like about 25%, which hopefully while I got a lot of other people doing artwork, I'm hoping to finish up the writing by about March. Get it all together and then start getting quotes for printing. All right. Slave driver. But then I've also got the Dungeon Delver working on the 1E conversion. So he and I have already done some work on that together. We have the 1E version of the talent tree done, which are we're treating them more like backgrounds. In the 1E parlance. Wait, what? Somebody spit on you. What happened, man? That's weird. Okay. Oh, split. Oh, okay. Well, that still sucks, but it's better than getting spit on. Yeah, what are you trying to do? One-man band, can't edit or draw. Oh, make a game. Yeah, but can you write? What kind of game are you talking about? Tabletop role-playing game? Well, if it's a question of, money for getting art for art for stuff, you can always do that later. Get a little bit of meat for your project and try to build a little hype and save up if you can, and then you can get just like an image. Just commission a couple to sort of sell your vision. It's not that hard to find somebody to do interior work that's not crazy expensive. Ooh. Yeah, unfortunately, cars are crazy expensive these days. I got my car back in the early 2010s, and I'm praying it never dies. So this is pseudo-biblical influenced. This Tinkerer's Guild. Sort of like Ezekiel's wheel. Let's see. Where was... Weird. I always start missing various markers by the time I finish these streams. Man, don't worry about complaints about a giant game. You know, either you can break it into parts or just release a giant game. You know, it's fine. Empire turned out to be quite large. Everybody says do, you know, some modules for your first one, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but do whatever you like, man. $18K? That's what I got my Rogue for. Like 20 some years ago. How recently did you get your cars, Michael? I was just curious because you know, one day I know my car will die. And I really don't want to buy a new one, but I will. I'll suck it up. Oh, that's not bad. The other thing I don't trust about new cars, like really anything since 2020, it just seems like they all break all the time. I mean, I know you're going to have to put money into a car at some point. Jeez. Yeah, how was the Mustang? I've heard mixed reviews. Like, some people love them. Then I've heard other people say, you know, not so great. But how'd you like it? What I'd really like to get is, I don't know if you've seen like the K cars, like those really tiny trucks out of Japan. I think it was Toyota that I saw. Like they make a bunch in Thailand because oddly enough, Thailand is actually the #1 place in the world for pickup truck sales. And they're awesome. And they have one that's like $13,000, brand new. Like no power locks, no power windows. I'm not even sure if it has a radio in it. But I don't want any of that stuff. Like, these days I'll just get a Bluetooth speaker. You know what I mean? Like, I don't use the real radio. I just want simple. Simple and something that I can get full sheets of plywood and foam from Home Depot. Jeez. Wow, that's expensive. What I'd really like to do one day, I mean, it's never going to happen because I don't have the time or the money or the place to store it. But I'd love to get an old 80s Corvette and one, restore it, but two, kind of modernize it a little bit. Better, or I don't know if better is the right word, but more modern interiors and sort of updated engine. All right. Whew. Well, thanks for coming, guys. I got, I think 3 out of 4 of those are more or less done, at least on the drawing inking side. So I plan on doing these live streams. I'd like to do one a week, but I'm going to say 2 to 3 a month until we're done with the book. And the book and all the adventure modules, but book first. So thanks for coming. I'll be back. Probably gonna try to do it about once a week. So hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Oh man. Oh, for only $5,000? Did it run? Oh well, I gotta get going. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.